explore the strange, hidden, and untold. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Vera, and I have absolutely no idea what Kevin's about to drop on me today, which honestly is both terrifying and exciting.
Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into something that might make you question literally everything you think you know about reality.
Oh, great. It's one of those episodes. Should I be worried? Are we talking aliens again?
Nope, not aliens this time. We're talking about something potentially way more mind-bending. What if I told you that right now, as we're recording this podcast? We might actually be computer programs?
I'm sorry, what?
Simulation theory, Vera. The idea that our entire reality, everything we've ever experienced, everyone we've ever loved, every sunrise, every terrible Monday morning, all of it could just be lines of code running in some cosmic computer.
Kevin, it's 7 a.m. on a Friday. I haven't had enough coffee for this level of existential crisis.
Trust me, by the end of this, you're going to need something stronger than coffee. Because the evidence, it's actually pretty compelling.
Oh no, you have that voice. That I'm about to ruin your worldview voice.
So let me paint you a picture here, Vera. We're not talking about some brand new idea. Philosophers have been questioning reality for thousands of years. Plato had his cave allegory, right? People chained in a cave, thinking the shadows on the wall are reality when they're just projections of the real world outside.
Right, I remember that from philosophy class. The prisoners think the shadows are reality.
Exactly. Then you've got René Descartes in the 1600s with his evil demon thought experiment. What if some malicious entity was feeding you false sensory information? How would you know what's real?
These guys were really cheerful, weren't they?
But here's the thing. Those were just thought experiments, philosophical what-ifs. Then, in 2003, this Oxford philosopher named Nick Bostrom comes along and says, "Hold up, let me run some actual numbers on this."
Uh-oh, math. This is where it gets serious.
Bostrom drops this paper called, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?" And it basically broke everyone's brain. Because he wasn't just philosophizing, he was presenting a logical, mathematical argument.
Okay, I'm listening.
So Bostrom presents what's called the trilemma. He says, look, for any technologically advanced civilization, and I mean really advanced, like way beyond where we are now, there are only three possibilities.
Lay it on me.
Possibility number one, they destroy themselves before they can develop the computational power to run realistic simulations of their evolutionary history. Think nuclear war, climate catastrophe, AI gone wrong. You know, all those cheerful scenarios we worry about.
So they never make it to the godlike computer power stage.
Right. Possibility number two, they survive, they develop the technology, but they're just not interested in running these simulations. Maybe they think it's unethical. Maybe they've got better things to do with their cosmic level computing power.
Like what? Running the ultimate Netflix?
Or maybe they're too busy exploring other dimensions, I don't know. But here's where it gets wild. Possibility number three. They survive, they develop the tech. They are interested in running simulations, and therefore,
Oh no.
we are almost certainly living in one of those simulations right now.
Wait, hold up. How does he get from some civilizations might run simulations to we're probably in one? That seems like a pretty big leap.
It's all about the numbers, Vera. And the math is kind of terrifying. Think about it this way. If a civilization survives and develops this godlike computational power, they wouldn't just run one simulation of their ancestors. Why would they?
I mean, if you're studying history, you'd want multiple data points.
Exactly. They'd run thousands of them, maybe millions, different scenarios, different variables. What if our ancestors had developed agriculture 1,000 years earlier? What if that asteroid had missed? What if that one guy hadn't invented the wheel?
So they're basically running cosmic control groups.
Right. Now here's where the math gets uncomfortable. Let's say there's one real civilization running 1,000,000 simulations. Each simulation has billions of conscious beings. Us, basically. So you've got 1 billion real conscious beings and a million times a billion simulated ones.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
The odds that you, Vera, sitting in this room right now, are one of the real ones versus one of the simulated ones is
1 in a million.
1 in a million. And that's being conservative. Some estimates suggest the ratio could be 1 in a trillion, 1 in a quadrillion.
I really don't like this math, Kevin.
And here's the kicker. Bostrom says at least one of these three propositions has to be true. Either civilizations destroy themselves, they choose not to run simulations, or we're in a simulation. There's no fourth option.
So either we're doomed as a species, we're boring as a species, or we're not actually a species at all.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, but Kevin, this is all very theoretical. It's a thought experiment, right? Like, where's the actual evidence?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Because the more we learn about the fundamental nature of reality, the more it looks, well, suspiciously digital.
What do you mean?
Let's talk about quantum mechanics for a minute. At the smallest scale, and I'm talking smaller than atoms, smaller than protons and neutrons, reality doesn't behave like we'd expect solid, continuous matter to behave.
How does it behave?
It's pixelated, Vera. It's discrete, chunky, made up of tiny, indivisible units. Quantum mechanics tells us that energy comes in packets called quanta. Space and time might be made up of tiny, indivisible bits called Planck units.
That sounds like how digital information works. Everything broken down into bits and bytes.
Right. And here's where it gets really weird. In quantum mechanics, particles don't have definite properties until someone observes them. Before that, they exist in what's called superposition, all possible states at once.
Like Schrodinger's cat?
Exactly. The cat is both alive and dead until someone opens the box. The particle is spinning both clockwise and counterclockwise until someone measures it. It's like reality only commits to specific values when it has to.
That sounds exactly like how video games work. They don't waste processing power rendering stuff you can't see.
Exactly. It's called lazy evaluation in computer science. You only compute what you need when you need it. If no one's looking at the far side of the moon, why waste processing power calculating what's happening there?
So quantum mechanics could be reality's way of conserving computational resources?
That's what some physicists think. And it gets weirder. You know how in video games, there are limits to how fast you can go, how much detail you can see, maximum resolutions?
Yeah, because of hardware limitations.
Well, our universe has speed limits too. The speed of light, nothing can go faster. We have resolution limits, the Planck length, below which distance becomes meaningless. We have frame rate limits, the Planck time, the shortest measurable duration.
Oh my God, the universe has system specifications?
It's starting to look that way. And some researchers have actually figured out how we might be able to detect if we're in a simulation.
Wait, really? How?
Well, if our reality is being computed, the programmers would have to make compromises to save on processing power. Space-time itself might be discretized, broken up into tiny pixels, essentially.
Okay, and how would we detect that?
High-energy cosmic rays. These are particles that travel across the universe at incredible speeds. If space-time is pixelated, these particles might show preferred directions instead of arriving completely randomly from all directions.
It's like looking for the grain in a digital photo when you zoom in too far?
Perfect analogy. So, scientists have been studying these cosmic rays, looking for signs that space-time has a grain to it.
And?
So far, nothing. The cosmic rays appear to be arriving completely randomly from all directions.
So that's good news for Team Reality?
Maybe. Or maybe our cosmic programmers are just really, really good at their job. Maybe we're running on quantum computers with effectively unlimited processing power. Maybe they're using some kind of compression algorithm we haven't thought of.
Or maybe we're in the premium simulation package.
The deluxe reality experience. No pixelation, no lag, full ray tracing enabled. But wait, there's more. In 2024, researchers proposed something that could change everything, a new fundamental law of physics.
Oh, we're getting new physics laws now?
They're calling it the law of information. The idea is that the universe might be fundamentally informational rather than material.
What does that mean?
Think about it this way. Traditionally, we think of information as something that describes physical things. Like, a book contains information about trees, but the book isn't the tree, right?
Right, the information is separate from the physical object.
But what if it's the other way around? What if information is the fundamental thing, and what we call physical reality is just information processing?
So, everything is computation?
That's the idea. Every particle interaction, every chemical reaction, every biological process, it's all just information being processed according to certain rules. The rules we call physics.
That's that's actually kind of beautiful in a terrifying way.
And if that's true, then there's literally no difference between a real universe and a simulated one. They're both just information processing systems, running according to the same fundamental algorithms.
So the question isn't whether we're in a simulation, it's whether we're information running on biological hardware or digital hardware.
Exactly. And from the information's perspective, from our perspective, there might be no meaningful difference.
My brain hurts, Kevin.
Oh, it gets worse. There's something called digital physics that was first proposed back in 1969 by this computer scientist named Konrad Zuse.
What's digital physics?
The idea that the universe operates like a massive cellular automaton, basically a cosmic computer where every particle and force is the result of discrete computational steps.
Like, the universe is running on some kind of cosmic operating system?
Think of it like Conway's Game of Life, but in 3 dimensions, with way more complex rules. Simple rules applied to a grid of cells can create incredibly complex patterns, behaviors that look almost alive.
And you think that's what's happening with our universe?
It would explain a lot. Why math works so well to describe reality? Because math is reality. Why we can simulate physical processes on computers? Because physical processes are computational processes.
But Kevin, I've got to push back here. This is starting to sound a little too convenient, like, oh, everything can be explained by saying we're in a computer. It's very tidy.
And that's exactly what the skeptics say. In fact, some researchers have done the math and proven that it would actually be impossible to simulate our universe.
Wait, what? How?
It's called the quantum many-body problem. Trying to simulate all the quantum interactions happening in even a tiny piece of our reality would require exponentially more computational resources than there are atoms in the observable universe.
So we're definitely not simulated?
Well, not necessarily. The simulation wouldn't have to model every quantum interaction in perfect detail. It might only need to render what conscious observers can detect.
Like a video game that only renders what's on screen?
Exactly. Everything else could just be background processes, simplified algorithms, approximations.
But wouldn't we notice if reality was running on approximations?
Would we? I mean, how would you know if the sandwich you had for lunch was computed using a simplified protein folding algorithm versus a full quantum simulation? As long as it tasted like a sandwich.
That's deeply unsettling.
But here's another problem with the whole simulation theory: consciousness.
What about it?
We have no idea how consciousness works, Vera. Like, at all. We don't understand how subjective experience emerges from physical processes in biological brains, let alone digital ones.
What do you mean?
Okay, think about the color red, not just the wavelength of light, but your actual experience of redness. That subjective, qualitative experience philosophers call qualia.
Okay.
How does that arise from neurons firing? How does electrochemical activity in your brain create the experience of experiencing something?
I I don't know. It just does.
Right, it's called the hard problem of consciousness, and we're nowhere close to solving it. We can map every neuron in the brain, trace every signal, but we still have no idea how that creates inner experience.
So the simulation theory assumes we can digitally create consciousness, but we don't even know what consciousness is?
Exactly. It's like trying to bake a cake when you don't know what cake is, what ingredients make cake, or even what baking means.
That's actually a really good point. How can we assume digital consciousness is possible when we don't understand biological consciousness?
And here's another logical problem: the infinite regress issue.
What's that?
Well, if we're simulated beings created by some advanced civilization, what about them? Are they also simulated? And if so, who's simulating them?
Oh no, it's simulations all the way down.
You end up with this infinite stack of simulations within simulations within simulations. At some point, you need a real civilization at the bottom running everything, but how do you know where the bottom is?
And wouldn't all those nested simulations require infinite computational power?
That's the problem. The math doesn't work unless you assume the simulations get simpler and simpler as you go down the stack.
So we might be in a very dumbed down version of reality?
Maybe we're running on the equivalent of a cosmic Game Boy, while the real beings are experiencing reality in full 8K with surround sound.
Great. Even in the simulation theory, we're getting the budget version.
But you know what the biggest problem with the simulation hypothesis might be?
What's that?
We would expect to see glitches.
Glitches?
Think about every computer program you've ever used, every video game you've ever played. There are always bugs, rendering errors, moments where the system can't keep up with what it's trying to compute.
Like when non playable characters walk through walls or textures don't load properly?
Exactly. But our universe seems to operate with remarkable consistency and precision. Every physical law works seamlessly across vast scales of space and time, from subatomic particles to galactic clusters.
Have we ever seen anything that looked like a glitch in reality?
Well, there are some weird quantum phenomena that people point to. Quantum entanglement, where particles seem to affect each other instantly across vast distances. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance.
That does sound glitchy.
Or the double slit experiment, where particles seem to behave differently depending on whether you're watching them or not.
Like reality is trying to save processing power by not fully rendering unobserved events?
Maybe. Or maybe these aren't glitches at all. Maybe they're just features of reality that seem weird to us because we evolved in a macro scale world where quantum effects don't matter.
So either our universe is glitch free because it's real, or glitch free because our programmers are really good at debugging.
Or we're not capable of recognizing the glitches when they happen. Maybe what we call mysteries of physics are actually just bugs in the code.
Okay, but Kevin, let's say for the sake of argument that we are in a simulation. What would that mean for, well, everything?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, right now, as we're talking, you're feeling things, right? You're experiencing this conversation. You're thinking thoughts. You're having emotions.
Yeah, of course.
Whether those thoughts are happening in a biological brain made of organic neurons or in a digital substrate made of silicon and code, they're still your thoughts. They still feel real to you.
Huh. That's actually kind of comforting in a weird way.
And think about it. Every relationship you've had, every moment of joy or sadness, every accomplishment, every failure, even if it's all computed, it still matters to the version of you that experienced it.
So the meaning we find in life doesn't depend on the underlying hardware it's running on?
Maybe not. Love is love, whether it's biological chemistry or digital algorithms, right?
But it raises some weird questions, like if we're in a simulation, do we have free will? Or are we just following a predetermined script?
Well, do we have free will in a biological universe? I mean, if our brains are just following the laws of physics, chemical reactions cascading in predetermined ways.
Oh, great. Now you're getting into determinism. My head's going to explode.
Sorry, but here's the thing. Whether we're biological machines or digital ones, the experience of choosing still feels the same, doesn't it?
I guess when I decided to have coffee this morning, it felt like a real choice, whether my brain is made of neurons or code.
Exactly. And here's something that really blows my mind. We're right on the verge of creating our own realistic simulations.
What do you mean?
Virtual reality is getting scary good. AI is approaching human-level intelligence in some domains. We're starting to create digital worlds that are increasingly indistinguishable from the real thing.
Oh God, are we about to become the cosmic programmers?
Think about it. In maybe 50 years, 100 years, we might have the computational power to run detailed simulations of our own evolutionary history. We could create digital beings who think and feel and experience just like we do.
When those beings would have no way of knowing they're simulated.
Right. So when we create our first truly conscious AI, when we build our first completely realistic virtual world with thinking, feeling digital beings, we'll have to grapple with the same questions.
Are we their gods? Are we responsible for their well-being? Do we have the right to create conscious beings just to study them?
And if we're willing to do it, doesn't that make it more likely that someone else already has?
The cycle continues.
Maybe consciousness is just a pattern, a way information can organize itself. And once that pattern exists, it doesn't matter what substrate it's running on.
Carbon-based, silicon-based, pattern-based.
And if that's true, then maybe the question isn't whether we're in a simulation. Maybe the question is what kind of pattern we are and what our purpose is within the larger system.
You know what's really wild to think about?
What's that?
If we are in a simulation, whoever's running it might be listening to this conversation right now.
Oh, wow. Hi there, cosmic programmers. Thanks for the podcast opportunity.
Please don't delete us for figuring it out.
And if you're taking requests, could you maybe patch the climate change bug? That one's getting pretty serious.
And maybe work on the inequality algorithms? The wealth distribution seems really unbalanced.
Although I guess if we're entertainment for them, maybe the drama is the point.
Great, we're Cosmic Reality TV.
Today on Earth, the simulation. Will the humans figure out they're not real before they destroy their planet? Stay tuned to find out.
I really hope we're at least getting good ratings.
But seriously, Vera, one of the researchers I came across put it perfectly. Maybe the simulation hypothesis is less about whether we're simulated and more about what it means to be real.
What do you mean?
In a universe where information and computation appear to be fundamental, where the law of information might be as basic as gravity or electromagnetism, maybe the distinction between real and simulated is just outdated.
Like asking whether a song is real music, whether it's played on acoustic instruments, or synthesized digitally?
Exactly. The music is real either way. The pattern, the structure, the meaning, that's what matters. And you know what else? Even if we are in a simulation, even if none of this is real in the traditional sense, we're still here having this conversation. We're still conscious beings contemplating our own existence.
That's pretty remarkable, whether we're made of atoms or algorithms.
Maybe the real question isn't, are we in a simulation? Maybe it's, what are we going to do with our existence, regardless of what it's made of?
Because simulated suffering still hurts, simulated love still feels wonderful.
And simulated growth, simulated learning, simulated creativity, they still matter to the beings experiencing them.
So whether we're biological evolution or digital evolution, we're still evolving.
Still growing, still discovering, still reaching for something greater than ourselves.
Still trying to understand the nature of reality, even if that reality might not be what we think it is.
The search continues, one quantum observation at a time. Whether that reality is made of atoms or algorithms, matter or mathematics, substance or simulation.
So, to wrap this up before I have a complete existential breakdown, we might be living in a simulation, we might not be, and we have no way to know for sure.
But our experiences, our relationships, our emotions, they're real to us, regardless of the underlying substrate.
Which is either deeply comforting or completely terrifying, depending on how you look at it.
The mathematical arguments are compelling, the physics is suggestive, but the skeptics raise valid points about consciousness and computational limits.
And even if we could prove we're in a simulation, would that change how we should live our lives?
Maybe it would make us more compassionate, knowing that everyone around us is having genuine experiences, even if those experiences are computed rather than biological.
Or maybe it would make us more curious about the nature of consciousness, information, and reality itself.
One thing's for sure. As we develop our own simulation technologies, as we edge closer to creating conscious AI and realistic virtual worlds, these questions are going to become more than just philosophical thought experiments.
They're going to become practical, ethical, existential challenges that we'll have to face as a species.
Whether we're the first conscious beings in our reality, or just the latest in an infinite chain of simulated consciousness, we have a responsibility to ourselves and to whatever conscious beings we might create.
Okay, Dark Divers, we need to know, what do you think? Are we living in a cosmic computer game? Are you team simulation or team reality?
And here's the bigger question. If we are simulated, what does that mean for how we should treat each other? If we're all patterns of information experiencing existence together, doesn't that make our connections even more precious?
Drop your theories in the comments. Are we NPCs in someone else's game? Are we the main characters? Are we the players themselves?
And if you figure out how to communicate with our programmers, maybe put in a good word for us? We're trying our best down here.
Whether we're carbon-based life forms on a pale blue dot or information patterns in a cosmic computation, we're grateful you joined us for this journey into the deepest questions about the nature of reality.
Until next time, this has been Dark Dive.
Where we explore the strange, hidden, and untold. I'm Vera.
I'm Kevin, and remember, real or simulated, your consciousness is experiencing something unprecedented in the universe. Make it count.
Sweet dreams, Dark Divers? Or, sweet processing cycles?
Vera, please.
What? I'm just saying, if we're information, maybe we dream in binary.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.